the sacred or the divine part of you wants something very different than this ego part of you. There really are two of us in each and every one of us. One, of course, is the ego. And this ego is just an idea. You'll never find it in an autopsy. It's not anything you'll ever experience in the physical world. It's just an idea. And this idea says that who I am is special and important. And who I am is separate. Mostly who I am is separate from. And who I am is absorbed in my self-importance. And who I am is insane. Because insanity is defined as believing that you're something that you're not. And this idea that we carry around of our separateness, it says over and over again that where I leave off is where you begin. And my separateness keeps me without any awareness of my connection to you or to God or to all of the rest of the environment. It's the separation that this idea has. And it is what keeps you in a state of turmoil in your life. It's not bad, it's not evil, it's not wrong. It's just the idea that somehow the tribe has taught you, and you have taken on this idea that somehow you and the rest of us and God are separate identities. And then there's another part of you, and this is the sacred part of you. And this sacred part of you, what I call the sacred self, what some call the higher self, only wants one thing. It only wants you to be at peace. It doesn't care if you're right or if you're wrong, if you're good or you're bad, if you get a lot or you get little, how much you have, who you're better than, who you defeat, how old you are, how young you are, what color you are, what sex you are. It is not interested in any of that. That's all the work of the ego, the idea of your separateness and your individualism. This part of you, this sacred higher part of you, only wants you to be at peace. My teacher said very clearly, directly to me, very clearly, Nisargadatta Maharaj, 15 years ago, very clear. Enlightenment is being immersed in and surrounded by peace in your life. Enlightened people, the people that you meet that are truly at that enlightened state, are people who are able to express peace, immersed in it, send it out, receive it back, at all moments in their life. And when someone asks, they've asked me, well, what's the difference between these highly enlightened people and the rest of us? Is it that they have unconditional love and we don't? I say, no, that's not the difference. We have unconditional love. They have unconditional love. We have that. The difference is that they don't have anything else. That's all they have. So that if you're on a cross being crucified and someone throws a spear into you, out of you comes what's inside. All I have inside is forgiveness, is love. That's all I have. In A Course in Miracles, there's this wonderful affirmation. If you don't get anything else today, get this one down. All right? It says, in this moment, it says, I can choose peace instead of this. I can choose peace instead of this. What a great reminder. You're just ready to explode, and you stop yourself and say, I can choose peace instead of this. So there are essentially two paradigms that I need to talk about. I've talked about before at some of the seminars I've done here. I've written about in your sacred self. But in order to be able to understand manifesting, to be able to manifest, you are really understanding this idea that the person in your life who is able to push the buttons that sends you into a frenzy. Somebody else could push the same button and you react with love. But that person pushes that button and off you go. And your ego instantly enters into it and you need to make them wrong. This could be your spouse, this can be an ex-spouse, this can be a lover, this can be one of your children, this can be a mother-in-law, this can be anybody. It can even be a stranger. And they push that button, and you go into a frenzy, What is happening in this moment is that this is a divine master who has showed up in your life that you should be kneeling down and paying homage to and saying, thank you, God, for sending this divine teacher into my life. I know your ego is really having a tough time with that. But what is happening in this moment is, here is someone who is teaching you in this moment that you have not mastered yourself yet. That's what they teach you in this moment. And that is your soulmate. That is the person that you need to be able to send love from a peaceful inner expression that says, I could choose peace instead of this. And when you are in a relationship with that person, and they push the button, and you are able to be at peace, truly at peace, not acting. Now these great spiritual teachers come disguised as manipulative, cunning SOBs very often. And there's only a few of them in the whole planet. But they move around a lot. Right? And they got a lot of disguises. But until you, and the test for you to be able to do this is very, very simple. It's a very simple test. Something you can work on when you leave here today. You can work on it the minute that you walk out of here with that one that won't flush. Who keeps coming back. When you have the choice to be right or to be kind, you pick kind. You pick kind. The higher part of you says, be at peace. When you're at peace, you react with kindness. The ego says, be right. It's much more important to be right. Why do you think I subtitled this book, Making the Decision to Be Free? You are only free when you lose your self-absorption, your sense of separation from those that send you into those frenzies, and your sense of separation from God. Because God is that divine organizing intelligence that is in all things, including this person who is pushing these buttons and keeps showing up.